This tutorial demonstrates how to group data and how to filter data. We're looking right now at a worksheet that has a budgeted income statement broken into quarters with a total column, and if we scroll down we can see that there is a fair amount of detail given for each line item. So by grouping the data, we can collapse some of the detail in order to be able to view this same information at a more summary level without changing any of the data that resides in the worksheet. For example, let's suppose that we only want to look at the total figures for the year and we don't need to see the quarterly data. To do this, we're going to begin by selecting the columns. So we're going to click and drag and select the columns that contain the quarterly data, and then we're going to come up to the menu bar and select the Data tab, and then come over to the Group icon and click on that. And you'll see now that we have a bar going across the top here above the columns with a minus sign on it. And if we click on the minus sign, you can see that what it does is collapse the columns such that only the total row is showing. And if we want to expand it again, we just click on the plus sign and there's the full detail by quarter. We can do the same thing to collapse rows in order to provide more summary level data. For example, let's suppose we just want to see the total revenue line. We don't need to see the revenue by detailed account. So we can click and select those rows that we want to collapse. Come up and click on the group icon, and then if we click the minus sign, it will collapse those rows. Now notice that when we did that, we actually have a revenue line and a total revenue line, and that's probably redundant. We probably don't really need that. So we want to go back and redo that grouping so that we collapse row 9 as well as the 10, 11, and 12. So I'm going to expand the columns, select the rows that we've previously grouped, and come up to the menu bar and click on Ungroup. And that grouping line goes away. So we want to do it again. This time we want to include row 9 along with 10, 11, and 12 in the group. So we'll select those rows, click on Group, and now when we collapse them we can see that we have just the total revenue line. Alright, let's do one more. Let's collapse total cost of goods sold. So we're going to select all the rows that provide the detail for cost of goods sold and click on Group, and when we click on the minus sign, it'll collapse those rows so that we only see the total cost of goods sold line. Now let's look at how to filter data. So I'm going to go to another worksheet in this workbook called Operating Expense. And here we have some data. It's actually the summary level expenses from the previous budget. And let's suppose that we just want to look at the expenses that are in excess of $1,000. So let's type some column headings. I'm going to type operating expenses in column E, and I'm going to type amount in column H. Alright, so now we're going to click on the column heading, the word amount, and again on the Data tab from the menu bar we're going to click on the filter icon, and you'll see that when we do that we get a drop down button over amount. So if I click on that and I come down and I select number filters, I have various options in terms of how I can filter the data, and I'm going to select greater than, and I'm going to type in 1,000. So we want to see the rows where the amount is greater than 1,000. And you can put in multiple criteria. We're just going to leave this with one criteria, and I'm going to click OK. And now you can see immediately that the data is only showing those rows where the amount is greater than 1,000. If I want to go back and remove the filter to be able to see all rows again, I simply come up to the menu bar and click on the filter button to deselect it, and I'm back to seeing all the data again.